So during my jazz studies in my college undergrad, there was a time where I was looking for a jazz backing track application. You know, I needed it because I wanted to practice for my jazz jam sessions. If I had a gig that required me to play jazz standards, it was going to be helpful for me to have a backing track application, you know, where I can practice my standards, different styles and whatnot. And at the time, what was circulating amongst my peers in my college campus was IReal Pro. I downloaded IReal Pro. IReal Pro is pretty much a backing tracks app that has everything that you would need to, you know, practice straight ahead jazz. So it has, you know, in terms of grooves, you would find your swing, straight eighths, New Orleans shuffle, Latin, Montuno, all of the ones that you would sort of want to practice that you tend to come across when you play in a jazz setting, you know. It has a lot of the jazz standards as well that you would need to practice. IReal is, what do they call it? An oldie but a goodie. You know, it's sufficient to get you through. And for me, many years in my college years, I used IReal Pro. Honestly, it has never failed me. I mean, even when you are at a jam session and you don't know a song, you just pull out IReal Pro and, you know, the chords are there. So IReal Pro is an oldie but a goodie. But I remember sometime in my third year of studies, I think, or fourth year, I came across Genius Jamtracks, and I was really curious about it because even though at that time it didn't have all of the updates that it does now, which are really cool and I will talk about in the duration of this video, the main thing that made Genius Jamtracks stand out for me at the time was the fact that it was focusing on polyrhythms, something that obviously doesn't feature in IReal Pro. Genius Jamtracks was created by Antonis. Antonis is a drummer. I guess the goal to create the app was so that people can practice polyrhythms and not just have like a static sort of movement, you know. And I actually really like that because I genuinely love and enjoy polyrhythms. So in Genius Jamtracks, you can pretty much choose even the groupings. You could do a 2 against 3, a 3 against 4. You could, you know, change where you want this to take effect. So like if you want that rhythm to take effect in the bass, or if you want the rhythm to take effect in the drum or in the piano if you're a horn player, it makes it really cool, and it's still being updated, you know, even to this day. So it's a really interactive and engaging app. Perhaps you are watching this video because you're actually looking to download a backing track. I mean, I think one of the most amazing features about Genius Jamtracks is the fact that if you go inside the app and you pick a song, here I'm working with an artist, for example, rhythm. If you click on rhythm, you can change rhythmic intensity pretty much. So level 1 up to level 5, meaning that if, for example, you take level 1, you're not going to get any polyrhythms, so to speak. So it's going to be pretty much straight. And then if you look at your ratios, you can do a 2 against 3, 2 against 5, etc., etc. I usually keep it simple. I do a 2 against 3 or a 3 against 4. And then if you want to get in even more detail, which I usually don't, because for me, when I look at the ratios are enough, you know, that there's a 2 against 3 happening. Whether it's grouped in a specific way or not, I don't know if I care that much. But if you really want to get into detail, you can look at having a crotchet in groups of 2 or groups of 3, a quaver or a triplet feel in groups of 4, etc., etc. So that's a really cool feature. I mean, by the time you get to level 5, it's really, you know, cooking. It's really there. And you can do pretty much the same thing with harmony. Of course, as a pianist, I don't really use this harmonic feature because I practice with just drums and bass. Level 1 up to level 5. And the nice thing for horn players as it relates to voicings, again, this app has really been thought out, you know. You have an option for voicings here, different types of voicings, close position voicings, rootless voicings, shell voicings, avant-garde, cluster voicings, modern jazz. upper structure voicings, spread voicings, a whole lot of options, which, you know, for a backing track, I think it offers a lot. I believe as well that at any point when you choose, you know, to play a song within Genius Jamtracks, it's different all the time. So they've designed it in a way where it's interactive. You're never going to get the same thing all the time. If you look at the center button here, you can do this thing where, you know, you can move the bass a little bit behind the time or ahead of the time. You know, with whichever instrument you want, you can do that. There's an infinity button here. I thought that was pretty cool because on IReal, I think the amount of times you can repeat is 30 times. The fact that this can play up until infinity is pretty cool. When you look at IReal Pro, again, I said IReal Pro is an oldie but a goodie. IReal Pro has everything that you need, but if you're looking to enhance your practice sessions, Genius Jamtracks has that touch, you know. IReal Pro is also really easy to use. I mean, if you've never worked with backing tracks applications, IReal Pro is going to be really easy for you to use. So I have MIDI open here. You have your songs, you have your styles. In terms of styles, here are the styles that IReal Pro offers, you know. For jazz players, the ones that would stand out would probably be the bossa, blues, ballad, your Latin styles, shuffle styles, swing styles. And they do also have country, you know, the sort of standard styles, Afro, blues, etc. Now, the nice thing about Genius Jamtracks is that they've really thought about what's happening in the here and now in terms of jazz. With styles, they do also have modern jazz, which happens to be my favorite because, I don't know, it's inspiring for me when I play over that modern jazz style. They do also have an open swing, other than just like a straight, swing. You'll hear the drummer doing lots of other variations, on top of also having polyrhythms if you take the levels up. Another interesting one is free, where it's just a whole lot of craziness, I have to say. I think most people don't really play free jazz, so the fact that you can have it on a backing tracks app is pretty cool. I also have to mention here that there's a pencil here, when you look at this interface. Once or twice when I've been on Genius Jamtracks, I'll find that there's a chord that, I don't know if I know the song to have that chord, in a sense where I would prefer not to have that chord. So I would just take a pencil. So for example, this chord here, they've notated it as B major 7 flat 5. So I'm just going to have it as E major. Because actually that's how I remember the song to be. But so I'm just going to make this E major 7 here and remove this polychord. E major 7. So you can pretty much just edit it. Here you can also change the style. So here are the various styles that you can look into. So with IReal Pro, the nice thing is that when you go into forums, you will see that they've got, other style of songs that you can import into the app, which when you download the app, that doesn't come right away. So like country songs and pop songs. I remember there's a song, it's a jazz standard, but not really seen as like a standard, California Dreamin'. And I could find it here on these forums when I downloaded and imported them into IReal, and I could practice songs like California Dreamin', in the app. And then as it relates to Genius Jamtracks, I think another cool addition that they have is if you look at playlists, new standards, you will find these standards that were written only by women that have been added here. And this actually is a sort of collaboration with Terry Lynn Carrington, who curated a book that was published by Berkeley Press, and Hal Leonard new standards 101, which is pretty much standards that are written by women. So you'll find songs by Elena Penderhughes, Alice Coltrane, you know, modern and old women. So like Esperanza Spalding, Diane Reeves. I believe I even saw one by Nubia Garcia. That's a really cool addition, you know. Genius Jamtracks, what I really like about them is also that they are trying to, you know, not just make it like a traditional jazz backing tracks, but something that's modern and that speaks to what's happening in current jazz culture, you know, on an international level. So I really appreciate that about Genius Jamtracks. I've used IReal Pro a lot. Another feature that I didn't mention was that if you have watched some of my older videos, I've used backing tracks from IReal Pro in my videos, so you can actually download a MIDI file, a WAV file, and even just like the chart if you want to play with, you know, your band at a gig or something. You can share the chart and whatnot. And these are my honest opinions on both backing tracks. IReal Pro will give you everything that you need to practice straight ahead traditional jazz. All the grooves are there. All of the songs that you would come across are pretty much there. If you've been practicing a lot with your sort of standard backing tracks, Genius Jamtracks offers something new, something fresh to add a little bit more excitement and honestly inspiration. I find that when I practice with the Genius Jamtracks backing tracks, they actually give me inspiration. Those rhythmic elements almost make me feel like I'm playing in a live setting. I'm not gonna lie. Something in the rhythm makes me, you know, excites me or something. So Genius Jamtracks definitely has that special touch that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten unless you were playing with a live band. Before the video ends, I would also like to remind you that you can shop some of my booklets on my Buy Me a Coffee website, from beginner jazz piano resources to more advanced stuff. Everything is in the link. And I'd also like to quickly say thank you to everyone who's donated to the fundraiser that I'm doing to design and publish my first music book. It's pretty much almost over halfway, and I just want to say thank you for you if you have made a donation. This will be my first music book. I'm going to take you through the entire process once I get this going. And in fact, the booklets that I have created and that I have been sharing and making available for purchase here on my Buy Me a Coffee website are sort of like a test run of some of the material that I will actually include in the physical book that I want to publish. The goal pretty much for the fundraiser is so that I can get someone to help me design an actual digital copy that will be ready for print and everything else that goes with that. And I'm going to take you through the entire process. So that fundraiser is still ongoing. You can also look down below if you want to make a donation. Otherwise, thank you so much for liking, thank you for sharing my videos, and thank you for your lovely comments that you always leave. I would like to also let you know that I am intending on going live soon. I'm just trying to get my setup right so that I can do it properly with no glitches. I would love to go live and talk to you, answer your questions, play, and really just connect more personally, you know, other than me just posting videos and stuff like that. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I hope it helped you solve the question of which backing track to choose, or at least give you two really good options. And follow me on Instagram as well. That's the one social media that I'm most active on. And I'll be posting some snippets of playing using Genius Jamtracks as well to show you what it's all about, and many other things like my live performances and stuff. So cool. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.